There was an article I read just recently, and it was in one of the credit union trade magazines, so maybe you saw it too, um, about universal bankers. And specifically, the article referred to the idea, the role of a universal banker as the worst great idea. And man, I couldn't help but smile when I read that, just as I'm smiling now as I say that, because it is so true. First of all, let me give you a little bit of context. Um, Universal Banker isn't anything new, all right? In 2003, I was part of a team that did a industry-wide study, and I won't go into the details about it, but it was really to identify best practices in growth in financial institutions. And one of the things that we found, one of the primary findings, in fact, was the use of this universal model where there was a single point of contact for members and customers, and that single point of contact really built deep and rich relationships with their members and customers. As you can tell, this was credit unions and banks that we looked at. So that was 2003. Okay, depending on when you're seeing this, that was well over 20 years ago. All right. So it's not anything new, and we're still struggling with it, guys. And that's why I wanted to take a couple minutes this morning to talk about it. You know, we have, in many cases, tried to put a square peg into a round hole when we have done the universal model. And there's two things that I mean when I say that. Number one, let's look at this from the employee perspective. We've taken an employee who, in many cases, has been very successful sitting behind a desk, sometimes in an office, private office, sometimes behind a teller line, okay, that fortress, if you will, that is the teller line in a traditional bank branch. We've taken people who have been wildly successful in some cases in those environments, and now we've put them into an environment where they're not just dealing with transactions, they're not just dealing with loan applications or even new accounts, they're dealing with everything. And that's intimidating. That's scary. Think about the mental shift that those people have to make in order to go from, wow, I'm really good at this handful of transactions that I do. Now I have to be equally good, if not really good, at a boatload of transactions. And when I say transactions, it can be anything from an inquiry to a conversation to an actual transaction. Okay? That is a huge mental shift that, frankly, most people, myself included, would really struggle with. Most people are good at being myopic. And if you just look at this from an efficiency and a throughput standpoint, we want to simplify things. We want people that are good at, or great, I should say, at doing one, maybe two things, okay? Now we're asking them to do 10, 20 things, and that just blows a lot of people's minds. So we really have to assess it from that standpoint. Here's the other perspective that we've misjudged, and that is the employee. I'm sorry, the members. The members would love to have a universal banker. They would love to have a personal banker, that one point of contact. However, what they would love more is to get the right answer every time, to get a response promptly every time, to have things done correctly the first time. Okay. And that's a big ask for a universal banker, especially for those of you that have used the universal banker role as a way to kind of consolidate staffing or to offset the turnover that you've been experiencing. Um, those people in those roles as a universal banker just simply have not been able to handle the expanded number of transactions, but from the member standpoint, they've not been able to deliver like the members want them to. So I'm going to do another video on what you should focus on, but I wanted to set the table this morning for any of you that are currently doing the universal banker role, or if you're considering it, be very, very careful before you take that step, all right? And let's really look at the expectations, let's look at the people, and let's look at the tools and resources that are necessary to make that successful.